Right, let's get started. Let's get started. Let's get started. This is going to be very straightforward. Straightforward. Let's see. Now, let's hear the scripture again because it's so important. Now, concerning spiritual gifts, brother, I do not want you to be ignorant. You know that you were Gentiles carried away to these dumb idols, however you were led. Therefore, I make known to you that no one speaking by the Spirit of God calls Jesus accursed, and no one says that Jesus is Lord except by the Holy Spirit. There are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. There are differences of ministries, but the same Lord. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to each one for the profit of all. To one is given the word of wisdom through the Spirit, to another the word of knowledge through the same Spirit. This is what I want to talk to you about briefly this morning, Union. Strength, the power of a gift. Strength, the power of a gift. Now let's review where we've been in reference to this series of strength, and then we're going to dive into this notion of a gift. Now, strength, we talked about, there is strength in how we talk and how we think. Some struggles in life are lost or won just by the way we speak about it and think about it. Let me stop right there. Some battles in life are lost before they even start, simply by the way we talk about it and think about it. There's strength in how we talk and how we think. And we said, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in your sight. Last week, we talked about strength as knowing who you are and knowing who you are not. And there is a lot of power in saying, I can do a lot, but I'm called to do this. Knowing the difference between what you can do and what you are called to do. There's strength in knowing who you are and who you are not. And we talked about strength as knowing your shortcomings, knowing the fact that there are some things that you need to work on, that I need to work on, that we need to improve on. And the people who are aware of their shortcomings are actually stronger than the people who are not. We mentioned, don't mistake tough talk for strength. Some of the people that talk the toughest, that act like they have it all together, that always are boasting and bragging, are the most insecure, fragile people you will ever meet in your life. Don't mistake tough talk for strength. This is what we all talked about last 2 weeks, since the beginning of the year. Now, this is the question for this Sunday. Strength as living into your spiritual gift. Strength as living into your spiritual gift. And I'm going to spend a little bit on this Sunday, and then I will finish with it next Sunday. And you might not like this one. I'm just going to tell you this ahead of time. Now, what exactly is a gift? What exactly is a spiritual gift? Let's break this down. Working definitions. Remember, we never have a discussion about something before first defining what we are talking about. Because just because you are using the same word as me does not mean we're talking about the same thing. What does it mean when we say spiritual gift? So let's distinguish this. A talent is something that comes easily to you, something that you have a natural aptitude for. That is a talent. A talent, you can be talented in public speaking. No one has taught you how to no one has taught you how to do public speaking, but you do it naturally and easily. Some people are talented in logistics. They are very good with putting things together, with arranging things. with setting schedules. That some people are very good with hospitality. No one has trained them or taught them, but they do it now. It just comes to them. That is a talent. And we could talk about other things. Talent is anything you have a natural aptitude for. There are talents, and then there are, what's next? Skill. A skill is not necessarily a talent. A skill is something that you have trained in, you have developed over time, and it leads to you having an expertise in it. Just because you're talented doesn't mean you're skilled. There are some talents that you have, and you train in with those talents, you develop those talents, and those talents become skills. There are some people that are very talented, but they never develop their talent, never train their talent, and therefore they never have skill. They simply live off talent. Talent and skill. So you can be very talented as a public speaker, but you never hone that talent, and it never becomes a skill. You can be very talented in logistics or hospitality, but if you never hone that, it will never become an expertise. So there are talents, there are skills now, and then there are spiritual gifts. So we're talking about spiritual gifts. A spiritual gift, a meta-natural, beyond natural gift bestowed upon you by God's grace. A meta-natural gift bestowed upon you by God's grace. A spiritual gift, for example, you are wise to things that there's no reason why you should be wise to those things. It was simply a gift that God bestowed upon you. You didn't come from a family that was very wise. You didn't train at a wisdom school necessarily, but the gift of wisdom was bestowed upon you. It is a spiritual gift. Prophecy the same way. There are certain people that are aware, that can see trends before they happen, that can see patterns before other people notice them. That is a spiritual gift, not a talent and not a skill. Speaking in tongues, healing, we can go down the line of spiritual gifts. Let me stop right there. The most important thing for this whole message is that a talent is not a skill. A skill is not a talent. And a spiritual gift is not the same thing as a talent or a skill. I'm going to be talking back to you this Sunday. So let me stop right there. Are you clear about the distinctions between a talent, a skill, and a spiritual gift? We'll talk about how they can connect later on, but let me stop right here. Are you clear about that? Those in the sanctuary, you're clear. Okay. Now let me look at the chat. I'm talking to you all this morning. Okay, we're good. You're good. Okay. Y'all might not like this one, but I'm going to say, okay, good, clear. Okay. So Crystal, all right, Rodney's Crystal, good, excellent. Okay, so there's a talent, something that you naturally do. There's a skill, something that you're trained in, that you develop an expertise in. You can be talented in something, and you can develop that talent into a skill. There is a spiritual gift, and that is bestowed upon you by God's grace. You don't necessarily have a natural aptitude for it. You didn't have a family background in it. You don't have necessarily a genes for it. It's something that was bestowed upon you by God's grace. Now let's move forward. Let's go. It's time for the church to confess in reference to spiritual gifts. It's time for us to confess because we are a part of the universal body of Christ. What do I mean by that? We are guilty of worshiping talent as opposed to fostering gifts. If you don't get anything else, that's the sermon right there. Let me slow walk this. We as the church, I'm talking about all of us, the universal body of Christ, have been guilty of worshiping talent as opposed to fostering spiritual gifts. Things that make you go, I wonder how Whitney Houston's life might have been different if the church praised her talent less and focused on her gift more. Whitney Houston was raised in the church, and all throughout her life, they told her how good of a singer she was, how talented she was. I wonder how her life would have turned out differently if the church spent less time praising her for her talent and more time focusing on the gifts that God had given her. Let me stay with this for a minute. I just want you, this is I want you to think about, I'm setting this up for next Sunday. I want to give you an example of some famous artists that began in the church. All of them sung in the church choir. All of them were active in the church in some form or fashion. Let's go. Diana Ross, Jamie Foxx, Snoop Dogg, mother is a minister. Jessica Simpson, church choir. Justin Timberlake, church choir. Usher, sung in the church, raised in the church. And last but not least, who am I about to say? Nope. Last but not least, R. Kelly, raised and sung in the church. Listen to me, Union. When the church had them in their formative years, we obsessed over their talent and told them how talented they were and told them how gifted they were, not understanding the difference between a gift and a talent. We do that a lot. We told them how talented they were, and we helped them cultivate their talent to the point where they were able to use their talent and develop their talent into a skill where they made a profession and career out of it. God bless them, and were able to make millions and millions of dollars because we helped them take their talent and take their skill to such a point where they had a platform of millions and millions of people. We had them in their formative years. And the only thing we focused on was their talent, and we used their talent to develop their skill. But what about the gifts? What about their gifts? How? And I'm not making any judgment, except for the last one, of course. I'm not making any judgment about any of their lives, except for the last one. The judgment is on us, because what I'm saying is when someone comes into the church, if we are calling ourselves disciples of Christ, we have to know the difference between cultivate. They have a place. Our primary goal as disciples of Christ is to foster gifts, not worshiping talent. Where would these people be? The first question I asked you, how would a Whitney Houston's life turned out differently if someone would have came up to her, and maybe someone, I'm not saying this didn't happen, but what I'm saying is if the church as a whole said, you know what, you're a very talented singer, but you know what, God has more in store for you than simply what you can do with your voice. What if someone would have wrapped their arm around her and told her, you know what, you might have the gift of wisdom, you might have the gift of prophecy, and that ultimately is going to do more for you than your talent, even when your talent becomes a skill. What would she still be with us if we would have done that as the church? There are talents, there are skills, and there are gifts, and they are not the same. And if we as a church don't understand the difference, the distinction between a talent, a skill, and a gift, we have done everyone who walks into our doors a grave disservice. And we are misrepresenting ourselves as mature disciples of Christ. You might not like this one. Let me see where you are. Let me see where you are with this. Are you still with me? Are you still with me? Have you left the room? Have you left the room? Okay. There are talents, there are skills, and there are gifts, and they are not the same thing. And as a church, we have to understand the difference between a skill, a talent, and a gift. They can be connected. They can be connected, but they are not the same. Okay. I think you're with me. I think you're with me. I'm talking back to you this Sunday because I don't have a lot. There's no one in the congregation in front of me. Okay. Why do I need to discover my spiritual gift? Some of you might say, listen, let's play devil's advocate. Listen, well, those people you named on the list, most of them, they made out okay by simply focusing on their talents and then allowing their talents to develop into a skill. Remember, a skill is not a talent. A skill, you can have a talent that you can develop into a skill. A skill is expertise. So you might be saying, well, listen, the people you on that list, most of them, they made out okay. They're doing very well. They're living good lives. So what if they don't know what their gifts are? So what if they don't understand their gifts, even though they started in the body of Christ? So what? Why do I need to discover my spiritual gifts if I'm very skilled, if I'm very talented, which I know many of you, all of you are? We have a very talented and skilled church. Let me tell you why. This is why. As a mature disciples, if your talent is not supervised by your gift, period, stop right there. Underline it, highlight it, do whatever you need to do. If your talent is not supervised by your gift, guess what? Guess what's going to happen? Your assets will become a liability. If your talent is not this is why we need to know our gifts. You need to know your gifts because the gifts, the talent and your skill have to be supervised by something. And some people have a lot of talent, have a lot of skill, but they haven't discovered their gift, and it turns their talent into a liability. Let me give you some concrete examples of this. Your talent will become a liability for you when it's not supervised by the gift of wisdom. There are a lot of very talented people out there that do not have the gift, that have not tapped into the gift of wisdom, and their talent has literally hurt them. You ever heard the saying, she's too smart for her own good? She's very, very, very smart. No, very, very smart, very intelligent, very, very bright, but doesn't know when to stop talking. Very bright, but doesn't know that sometimes just because you know it, you don't have to tell everybody what you know all the time. Wisdom. Remember, wisdom is the application of life lessons. Some people are very talented, but their talent is not supervised by the gift of wisdom, and therefore their talent, because they know so much, they're very knowledgeable, they're very smart, they're very bright, and everywhere they go, they have to tell everybody how much they know. They have to show and prove to everybody how smart they are. No wisdom. And they go to different environments, and people resent them because they don't want to hear what they know all the time. Talent, but no gift. Are you with me? Are you with me, Union? Are you with me in the sanctuary? Are you with me in the sanctuary? Your talent will ultimately become a liability for you when it is not supervised by the gift of healing. What do I mean by that? Some people are very, very capable people, but they don't get that the world doesn't revolve around them. Some people are very capable people, but they use their talent just to serve them. And the gift of healing is about bringing wholeness to the environment that you're in, about bringing togetherness, about bringing healing to the environment that you're in. That's the gift of healing. You can be very capable, you can be very able, but if you don't have the gift of healing, guess what? You're gonna use that for yourself every single time. And so some people are very capable, but their capability, their ability is not supervised by the gift of healing. And therefore, as people resent them, even though they're very capable of doing many things, because it's not supervised by anything. Your talent and your skills must be supervised by your gifts. Let me give you another example. Your talent will ultimately become a liability when it's not supervised by the gift of prophecy. Some people are very intelligent, they are very bright, but they don't have a clue. They don't have a clue. And there are some people that can read many books, have many degrees, have a lot of capability, but they can't see the writing on the wall. They can't see the patterns in their own life. They can't see the patterns in other people's lives. They can't see the patterns in the larger society, the gift of prophecy, the ability to be able to put things together. What do we say? Lord, give us wisdom. Lord, give us knowledge. Lord, give us understanding. The ability to be able to put things together in their lives, in the lives of others, and in the larger society. And what I'm simply trying to tell you, Union, what I'm trying to tell you is that if we want to be a mature church, if we want to be a mature disciple of Christ, a talent is not a skill, and a skill is not a gift. And if we don't understand a difference, we need to stop calling talents gifts. Number one, we need to stop that because it's not biblically accurate. A talent is not a gift. A talent is a talent, a skill is a skill, and a gift is a gift. And if we as disciples of Christ don't understand that difference, we are doing ourselves and others a grave disservice. Do you believe the 45th president of the United States has talent? Now, in case any of you are scratching your heads, the current president in the White House right now is the 46th president. I'm not going to mention no names. The current president in the White House is the 46th president. So the 45th president, the previous president in the White House, do you believe, I want you to tell me this in the chat. Do you believe that the 45th president of the United States has talent? Yes or no? Sanctuary. Yeah. I believe the 45th president is a very talented person. I think he's very talented. Now, what his talents are, that's for a question for another day, a debate for another day. I believe he's very talented. I don't think that you could basically get into that position without being talented. I think he's very talented, and he has a particular skill set. I think he's talented, and I think he's skilled. But let me tell you what I believe. This is what I'm telling you what I believe, is that he doesn't know what his gifts are, and that's going to be his ultimate demise. Or has been his ultimate demise. I mean, nobody's beyond redemption, of course. The 45th president is a very talented person, a very talented person. And I would go so far as to say he's a very skilled person. But the fact that his talent and his skill was not supervised by his gift, some people say that cost him in the election. I don't know. But I do know that skill and talent without gifts is a very dangerous place to be. It's a very dangerous place to be. How do I discover my gifts? I'll talk about more of this next week, but I'm going to leave you with this. If you want to discover your spiritual gift, you first start by spending time with the giver of all good gifts. It's just that simple. If you want to discover your spiritual gift, you start. It's not where you end. We're going to talk about this in depth next Sunday, how you discover your spiritual gifts. How do you become aware of that? But first and foremost, if you want to know your spiritual gift, you first start by spending time with the giver of all gifts. Devotional time needs to be quality time. Now, I'll talk more about this next week, but let me end with this quote that one of my mentors gave to me, and I thought it was very, very profound. I want to leave you with that, and I'm done. Sometimes I read the Bible for extraction. Other times I read it for traction. Sometimes I pray to receive. Other times I pray to perceive. My time with God must not always involve a transaction, but simply experiencing the Lord's warmth and presence can be enough. That's where you start. Sometimes when I read the scriptures, I don't read the scriptures to know something more. I read the scriptures because I need to anchor myself in God's presence. I don't pray because I want to always get something from God. I pray so that I can see myself better. Spending time, real time, quality time with the giver of all good gifts. I know it sounds very simple, but it's true. That's how we begin to be in touch with our spiritual gifts. And if you want to learn more about spiritual gifts, tune in next Sunday, same bat time, same bat channel. Amen.